Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hi.
Good evening.
Hello.
I tried to get in about 4 or 5 times.
It's not easy.
Is that Mr. Thomas?
It's Mr. Raven, Joe Raven.
Oh, hi. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. Thank you.
Good evening.
Hello there.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good
Good
evening.
evening.
Hi, Fran, Pat, and Mayor. How are you all?
I'm very good. How are you?
Just fine, thank you.
I'm good.
Good.
All right, according to my time, it is now 7:30. And we'll call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Okay. Alderwoman West,
Present.
Alderwoman Tapman, Alderwoman Reed,
Here.
Alderman Carroll.
Here.
Alderman Thomas is absent. Alderman Christian,
Here.
Alderwoman Dales, Alderwoman, okay. Alderwoman Avant Elliott.
Present.
Okay. City Attorney Dorothy White Coleman is in. The mayor is here. City clerk is here. Chief, are you here? I don't see you. Okay. Howard is absent. Okay, Mayor, we have Alderwoman Tapman. Did you make it?
Yes, I sit here.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay, Mayor. Everyone's here except Thomas. Yeah, Alderman Thomas.
All right. Well, thank you all for being on tonight. And I guess I'll say this right up front and as we get it over with. You know, the pandemic is all in our community, and this morning my wife was diagnosed with the virus.
Oh, man.
My grandson and my son-in-law. And so I would like for this to be a smooth, productive meeting tonight. Approval of the agenda.
Mayor, if I may,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion for approval of the agenda with the following amendments. Under new business, I would like to discuss a social media ordinance. Also under new business, I would like to discuss our signs.
It's a value that we've always had. And that's never been right now.
Additionally, I'd like to discuss the municipal court ordinance and the ordinance regarding the court clerk under new business as well. Also under new business, I'd like to discuss a code of ethics. And then I would like to attain approval to attend online training with the Missouri Municipal League.
Before we go, we don't have jurisdiction over the courts. So I don't know what the discussion about that would be. But we're not over the courts.
But Judge, I understand that, Mayor. Judge Draper sent the email regarding the court clerk being under administration, and that should fall under the municipal court. And I believe she also mentioned that there might be some other things wrong with the ordinance. I'm not exactly recalling for sure or not, but that's what mainly I'd like to discuss about switching that over and having the city attorney look at that ordinance for compliance with Missouri Supreme Court rules and any new state statutes.
Alderwoman West, I second the motion.
I'm sorry, but I didn't hear a motion. James Carroll, did you make a motion?
Yeah, Mayor, yes.
It doesn't matter to me. I just didn't hear it. Would you make it again, please?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion
Mm-hmm.
to accept the agenda with the following amendments.
Okay, and I got those, so, all right.
Okay.
You may second that now, Madam West.
Alderwoman West, second.
All right, is moved and proper second that we would amend the agenda under new business. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay. As have it.
Opposed, at least, Alderwoman Dales.
Okay. All right, presentation of unapproved minutes.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to approve the June 18th minutes.
Christian,
I'm sorry.
second.
Kristen,
I'm
second.
sorry.
Are there any discussion?
Sir, I'm sorry. My phone was on mute and I kept trying to speak about offering amendments as well to the agenda before we voted. I'm sorry. My phone was on mute. I kept saying hello.
Okay.
May I put forth the motion as well?
Yes,
We have
ma'am.
a motion on the floor for the approval of the minutes.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So are you saying when there's a motion and second on the floor, nothing else could be done at that time?
Not unrelated. That's unrelated to the motion that we're doing at this time.
Okay, keep that in mind. All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposers, nay. All right,
Now, Mayor, may I make a motion, please?
yes, you may.
I would also like to make a motion to amend the agenda, and I apologize again, my phone was on mute. To amend the agenda to add 2 items under unfinished business. 1 item, April 16th meeting, and then the second item up under 15, new business. Instead of having B read bill number to adopt, I would like to insert budget discussion to be B, and then C to be the budget adoption.
Is there a second?
Yes, Alderwoman Dales, I second that.
Are there any further discussion?
Yes, Mayor. For the budget discussion, when the bill is read, there's normally a discussion. Will that not be enough? Alderwoman Tapman?
Yes, if we would have an opportunity to discuss before adoption, yes. I just didn't see it. I wanted it for the record since it was not on there, but if we are allowed, yes, that would be enough for budget discussion.
All right.
So I want to withdraw the motion
Okay.
to insert the budget discussion since it will be applicable before the adoption of the budget, to just include my amendment under unfinished business, April 16th meeting.
I got a question.
What's your question?
What specifically are we talking about on the April 16th meeting?
The legitimacy of.
All right. Apparently that suffices. I didn't hear anything. All right, so let's move on to meeting open to the public.
Point of order, Mayor.
Beg your pardon?
Point of order.
What's your point of order?
We need to vote on that.
Vote on what?
The amendment. She made a motion
Amendment.
to amend the budget or amend the agenda, and we need to vote on it.
I thought you withdrew your amendment. Did you withdraw?
No, sir, I just withdrew since it was stated that we will have an opportunity to discuss the budget before adoption. I withdrew my second motion, but only just to amend to add April 16th meeting up under unfinished business.
All right, is that a second?
Alderwoman Dale seconds that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposers, nay.
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 Roll call, Mayor, please.
Roll call.
Okay. Alderwoman Tapman,
Yes.
West,
No.
Reed,
No.
Dales,
Yes.
Carol,
No.
Crystal.
No.
I got everybody. Okay. It was 2 no's.
No.
Alderwoman Elliott.
No.
Okay. It was 1, 2, 3, 4 no's and 2 yes.
All right. Motion fails. Meeting open to the public. For 3 minutes each, please.
Hello, Mayor.
Oh,
This is Wanda Lane, 9900 Martindale. I have, did I understand that the city treasurer was not present? Because I had some questions for him. Did I hear you correctly, city clerk?
He's not present.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So I'll make comments then regarding the meeting that happened on Monday and what happened towards the end. It was very confusing, and I need some clarification. The first thing, though, a few meetings ago, we were told that the ordinance that was being discussed to establish a salary range for the city administrator was just being made to complete the ordinance, because the ordinance had been on the books for a couple of years, and that particular portion was not completed. And I looked at the ordinance 2.2-46, letter D. It says, under compensation, the administrator shall receive such compensation as may be determined by the mayor and BOA by ordinance from time to time. that's a little bit confusing to me because it sounds like to me that the salary range can vary, but maybe not because of procedure. The board proceeded anyway to establish a salary range. But regarding the city administration, there's been no discussion about it with the public, and it is public funds that we're discussing to pay the salary from whatever funds are available. I wanted to ask the city treasurer what funds were available, but there's been no discussion, no pros and cons. It just seems to me that this was a discussion that began in an unauthorized gathering, and it is now for real morphed into, we want to, I'm going to get the wording correct, establish a salary from some funds that are public funds. One of them is the sewer fund, sewer lateral fund. And from my understanding, those funds specifically cannot be used for anything other than that. I said at the last meeting, I think that it is not wise to try to pinch off of different funds to make up a salary, especially when we don't know what's going to happen. We are in the middle of a pandemic. The state is opening and closing, and so is the country. And I know the treasurer made that statement at one of these meetings that I've zoomed in on. We don't know where we're going to be financially. And for the city, for all the people to vote on $104,000 for a salary for a position that does not exist, I'm very confused about that, because I don't know what the person's going to be administering in the middle of a pandemic. The second thing I want to talk about is the preparation of the budget. There seems to be what I
Sorry,
gather-
Mayor. I thought our public gets 3 minutes, so I would like to call a point of order. It's Alderwoman Reed.
What is your point of order?
3-minute limit has been exceeded.
Mayor, this is Felicia Ezell, 619 Marshfield Drive, and I will yield my 3 minutes to Ms. Lane so she can finish.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Lane.
Regarding,
That's not how that works, though.
Yeah,
You
Mayor,
may continue.
thank you, Mayor. There was some discussion.
Mayor, when I do a point of order, you're supposed to then give your response to that and why you are foregoing the point of order. You know, if you're going to accept it or if you're going to deny it, and you have to give your reason for that.
Well, I was going to say that your point of order was well taken, and a time was up, but then someone else yielded their 3 minutes to her, and the ruling on that is that she can continue with someone else's 3 minutes.
But that's not how it's written on our agenda, that other residents can give other residents 3 minutes. I mean, if we're going to establish that, then we need to write a bill to have it written like that in our agenda. We just can't make changes to what we've established as a city, you know, on the fly, just to appease 2 residents. Because in other meetings, you've made other residents stop at 3 minutes. There are some isms here, sir.
This is the first
Mayor,
step.
I can
Yield their time to someone else, and I approve of that. So you may continue.
Thank you, Mayor. Regarding the preparation of the budget, there's conversation regarding the budget should be prepared by the
This is
mayor.
Alderwoman West, and I would like to challenge the mayor's decision on that.
Well, I made my decision, and there is no challenge, so you may continue.
There is, according to Robert's rules, there is, Attorney Coleman.
Yeah.
Would you intervene, please?
Yes, there can be a challenge to the ruling of the chair. However, The mayor has indicated that he did not accept the point of order because another resident yielded her time to Ms. Lane.
Okay, so how long has Ms. Lane been speaking?
3 minutes.
No, Fran, how long has?
Well, she stopped at 3 minutes and then conversation started. I didn't time the conversation. I didn't time when Alderwoman Reed and Alderwoman West and that other resident started talking. I have to put the timer back on, but Wanda Lane, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, you interrupted her, but I timed her at 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
Well, it's good to know you're keeping time.
I beg your pardon?
I said it's good to know that you're keeping time.
Keeping time.
So I apologize for interrupting. I had actually muted everybody. But anyway.
No, I stopped that time at 3 minutes and 40 seconds because of the questions and the point of orders. Ms. Lane, you may proceed.
Where is that? It don't matter what else.
Thank you, Mayor.
It don't matter.
There's been discussion regarding the preparation of the budget and the theory that the budget is prepared by the mayor. And my experience in all the meetings that I have attended in this city and other cities, there have been a team of people who prepare this budget. Most recently, the mayor, the treasurer, and an alder person. So I think that that is an unfair assumption that the mayor is the only one who prepares the budget. And I'll save the other comment that I had to make for after the second time that the meeting is open to the public. Thank you, Ms. Felicia.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else from the public?
Yes, this is Askew Taylor, 9700 Birchman Court. I would just like to thank the mayor, Tommy Pearson, the building department, the chief, and all those that responded to the email about the sign that was placed over here. Not complaining about people putting up signs or whatnot. It just wasn't serving a purpose being right there. It's only just a few houses there. I just felt like it should be useful somewhere else where he could get more notoriety from his sign. And the size was just huge there. So appreciate you guys responding quickly to have that situation rectified. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, this is CJ Mabry from 920 Fontaine Place. I just had forgot what my second question was, but anyway, so it was like early Wednesday morning or early Tuesday morning, there was a car set on fire on Fontaine Place. I don't know if anybody was aware of that. And so the fire department came, put it out. It was about 3:20. Came, put it out, and the police showed up, and they put it out or whatever. But it's still right here, across the street from my house. Wondering when they were gonna pick it up, tow it, cause it's literally a burnt out car across the street from my house. So I didn't know, if anybody can get a ETA on that.
Thank you. Chief, what is the ruling on that?
CJ?
Hey.
What address is that vehicle sitting in front of?
It's sitting, so I'm cat-corner to it. I'm 920 Fontaine Street, and it's across the street. It looks like 917 Fontaine Street. It's a burned out Chrysler, probably a 2018, 17.
Gotcha. I'll have patrol look in this evening. There's one or two things that are going to happen. It's parked in the street, correct?
Yeah, it's in front of a house, yeah.
If it is deemed to be a hazard of some sort to safety or, any other hazard to the public, it will be towed immediately. If it's deemed to be safe to sit there for a short period of time, we'll put a 5-day warning on it. And if it's not removed in 5 days, we will tow it.
Okay, all right. And I think I have another question, but I can't remember it. But thanks.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Tommy Pearson, this is Sharon Gates. I have never attended one of these meetings before, not a Zoom meeting, but I have a quick question.
I need to stop you a second, Miss Gates. Can I get your address, please?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is 838 Fontaine Place.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. My concern is all the large tractor trailers, trucks coming down Chain of Rocks because they have shut down Riverview up there. Is it anything that we can do to keep these big trucks from rolling down that street? Because my house has literally been shaken for about 2 or 3 weeks.
Chief, what can we do about that?
Few suggestions, Mayor. I know for a fact that tractor trailer activity on Bellefonte Road alone is illegal unless they're making direct deliveries. This for traveling through is not acceptable. I will have to check about Chain of Rocks and Jennings Station Road because they're kind of one and the same to verify the rules on that. And I would also suggest that Public Works put the digital signs down there. If the memory serves correct, tractor trailer traffic is acceptable on Chain of Rocks and Jennings Station Road. But I would have the street department put the electronic signs down there given detour routes since Riverview is closed right there at Chain of Rocks. I've seen them consistently come up this way and they'll go up and they'll go through Jennings Station Road and hit 367. So I will take a look into that as well.
Do you guys know how long that it's going to be shut down? Does anybody have any comments on that? How long is Riverview going to be closed?
Personally, from my perspective, I do not know. I don't even know specifically what work they're doing there. And I don't have a timetable for how long that's going to be closed up.
3 months.
Okay, who was that said 3 months? Okay.
By that time, everybody gonna have foundation problems.
Okay. Well, Riverview is not in Bellefonte.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah. So, all right, anyone else? And if there's no other residents, we will now go back to our agenda. Public Safety Committee, is there anyone here from Public Safety? I don't think so. Youth Commission?
Mayor,
Image and Beautification?
Mayor, I was just gonna report just what was indicated in her, on the statement that they discussed their budget, was their topic. And they met on June the 15th and discussed the youth commission, budget.
Okay. Image and Beautification?
Alderman Christian, I don't have any minutes from the last meeting. I was not able to attend that one, but I will just mention that the next meeting of Image and Beautification is on July the 14th. That is all I have for that.
Okay, thank you. Park and Rec? Park and Rec, Sonny?
Yes,
David, who was that?
it's Mr. Robinson. I was just going to report on the rec center.
All right, proceed.
So we're completing the CDBG application for resurfacing of the outdoor pool. St. Louis County wanted us to let you guys know and be aware that it is going to take management, either internally or externally, to kind of handle this. Should the grant be approved, the repairs will probably take 30 to 60 days. So they just wanted you guys to be aware that it's going to take additional manpower to kind of manage this. In the past, you've used HUD, which means St. Louis County managed the grant for you, and there was nobody necessary. There was no additional time necessary or required of anybody of the city. This one will involve someone having to kind of manage it. So I just wanted to kind of let you guys know that.
Mr. Robinson, this is the city clerk. Are you referring to the community development block grant, that application that you're taking?
Yes, I'm talking about the community development block grant. We're going to be, you guys have decided to use that to resurface the outdoor pool so that you can utilize it next year. So I just kind of wanted to let
This
you know.
is Alderwoman West. That is not what we decided. Thank you.
I couldn't understand you, Ms. West, Alderwoman West.
I said that is not what we decided. A question also, is this young man a resident of Bellefontaine Neighbors?
Who isn't? He's the one that we retained to.
No, I asked, is he a resident of Bellefontaine Neighbors?
Not a resident, no. I don't think.
Okay.
Rodney, did you finish with your statement?
Yes, sir. That's completely it.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Street Department.
Yes, this is Jeff. To keep people up to date is what we're doing. In the last couple weeks, we have maintained trees. Currently been working on asphalt on Gardo and Gardo Court. We started the electric project with the salt shed. Maintain city vehicles. We've also been cutting city parks, property, and taking care of the vacant houses. Also currently redoing street signs throughout the city, painting stop lines, and we did start to lay out and cut for the barrier that's to be installed at Bissell Center. And that's basically what we got.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, please.
I just have a question. Is there an update for the person with the tree issue, Miss Ruth King, that we called you on the three-way and you indicated that they were going to take care of it? Did you have an update on that? Was the tree taken care of, or what was the status?
Jeff, are you up to date on that?
Do you have an address?
That was the person on Waldorf Drive.
Waldorf Drive. I believe so. Was it hitting a trash truck?
I'm not sure. It was but it was one that you indicated would be put on a list, but it'll be a couple of months. But then we talked to Mayor Pearson, and he said he was going to take care of it and get in contact with you. So I'm not sure. Okay.
I believe we did. We've done a few in the last couple weeks.
Okay.
If you could email me an address, I can check for sure on Monday.
Okay, if you check the last email that I sent that say tree trimming as the title, then it's that same person.
I don't know if I got one titled tree trim, but I'll check.
Okay. All right. If not, you can just follow. Yeah, it says tree trimming as the subject. So yeah,
okay.
From June 11th. Okay. Thank you.
I'll check Monday.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, planning and zoning.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
We'll have our next meeting held at City Hall on Monday, July 13th at 7 p.m. We will have masks required, and we will employ social distancing in order to maintain our 6-foot separation. Agendas and background information for that meeting will be emailed to all members. Jim Christian will be our new aldermanic rep there. And just a question or two. What is the status of processing the business license for Trimark Metals at 665 St. Cyr? Does anybody know?
Who is that question there?
It's from Pat Barrett, Planning and Zoning.
Let's see. Do we have anybody here from building?
Yes, I'm here. This is Joe Raven.
Joe, can you answer that question?
The inspection has been done and completed. Everything has been handled through us in the fire district. I think the last part is to accept the business license. It was my understanding that he came by to do that, and there was some discussion as to waiting for that until it went before the board. It's my understanding.
Okay, well, there is no need for this to go before the board if they've passed their inspections, if they have an occupancy permit. This is a business that wants to move here, who will pay a business license, whose utility taxes will benefit the city, and they will be moving from Riverview to Bell Fountain Neighbors.
What location?
I'm sorry?
So I heard somebody say.
I'm sorry. Shelley Davis, 1152 Jenny Station Road. What location?
This is at 665 St. Cyr Road. It's zoned M1 industrial.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Pat, does that conclude your report?
Well, I'm hoping someone can answer my question. I assume, Joe, they've got their occupancy permit?
Yes, they have their occupancy permit.
Okay.
So, Pat, this is the city clerk. I think this may have come about because I did mention that businesses need to come before the board before they could get a license. So board members, do businesses need to come before the board before they can be issued a license?
The city, city attorney.
No.
Okay.
This is Dorothy. I reviewed the city's code of ordinances and did not find that requirement in the code. Now, I'm not sure what your practice has been, but it is not a part of your code.
Alderwoman Dales, it had been the practice. However, it would really, the previous board would always have a business come before the board to explain what their business was, how it would affect after they left planning and zoning. However, since we have a different board, a lot of the rules have changed, and it was just basically protocol to let the board know what was going on. So this board may not want to know what's going on in the city.
Well, how do we proceed from here, Pat?
I would ask that the city follow its own written rules.
What are the written rules?
They do not have to come before the board.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I got a question, Mayor.
Okay.
Do planning and zoning members get any type of training through the municipal league or UMSL?
I did not. I can only answer for myself.
I'm not aware of any.
All right, thank you.
No.
Thank you all.
Building inspection.
Yes, you should all have the numbers in front of you for June. We had a rather busy month with occupancy inspections. We had 43 new residential inspections and 30 re-inspections. It's rather a busy month for that. We do have a few construction projects happening. We have a new solar panel project that just was finished. A new lady got new solar panels installed. We also have a little cabin project that the city engineer will probably elaborate on. Grass problems are starting to slow. We've hit most of those, and they're being maintained by the Public Works. Algae letters have gone out a couple months ago, and those have been being looked at a second time. It seems most people are taking good care of that. That's nice to see. And that's about all I have to report.
Thank you.
Man, this is Alderwoman Dales. May I ask the inspector a question?
I don't see.
Joe, do you physically go inside vacant homes and inspect them before someone moves in, whether they're rental or being purchased?
Yes. Yes, every time a house is purchased or rented, we do.
Okay, and is there anything in our code that will prevent someone from moving if there's mold in the house?
Yes, that's one of the issues that we look to see, that make sure there's no, mold or health issues in the house when we do inspections.
Is that inside and outside?
Yes, I mean, most of the times mold is usually found indoors. Yes.
Is that outside including also?
Yes, I mean, for things like algae and things growing on the house.
Okay, and is there also a requirement that the owner or the person that owns the property or selling the property, that they paint the windows, fix the windows, require that they have a screen door in the front? Is that required as well?
Yes, you're supposed to have working windows and screens. If you have a screen door, it should be in proper working order. It's not required that you have a screen door.
Okay, so does the house have, if someone's renting the house and there's paint chipping all around, is that required that the owner paints the house and fix the sidewalk if it's cracking and cut the bushes down? Is all that required?
Those are part of property maintenance, yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anyone else? City engineer report.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. You have my report in front of you. It's been 4 months since I've gave my report in person, and then we didn't have a meeting in April. May was a phone, and then last month, I apologize when Mayor asked for me, I couldn't unmute quick enough, and then I just stayed online if anyone had any questions. Anyway, as Joe indicated, City Hall is now open, and people are coming in to get their permits for occupancy. So Joe's been kept real busy, and while we were shut down, names and numbers were gotten from people, and now we're getting those people in to pay for their occupancy permit. So that'll be a process that'll take probably another 30 to 45 days. Joe also mentioned we have a unique project going on. It's a new house being built on Tully. It's a cabin, a modular cabin. So it's coming in prefab, but they're having a garage built onto it along with a basement. So there's been some coordination going on between the two, but it should be a rather interesting project as it gets done. There was some interest, or we got a little call on Aldi. Aldi may be doing some remodeling. They need to send us some drawings so we can look at them. And that's all I've got right now. Does anyone have any questions?
Mayor, I have
Yes.
a question. How you doing? Welcome back.
Fine.
Good. The mayor has mentioned that undeveloped property over there by the veterans home, and since I've been on the board, I know the previous mayor talked about it. Do you know anything about what companies normally object to why no one had really taken up that opportunity? Because I think once before it was saying something about with it being undeveloped, they would have to do the, you know, a lot of the piping and all those different things. Do you know the history of that to know why no company had grabbed that spot in the first place?
No, I apologize. I do not know the history, but obviously on something like that, it involves money. So maybe the economics aren't there for someone to do it. But that can be looked into a bit more. I was not aware of something like that.
Okay. Additionally, I'm not sure if you were updated that we had how we decided to use the community block grant. Had you been getting any information about that?
No.
Okay. So if you could follow up with Fran. So instead of it being motion to send it for individuals to get on a list to use it for repairs or whatever it was used for before, we made a motion around supporting some rec center repairs and other construction of, I'm not sure the specifics of how we stated it, but if you could follow up on that, because we do have a representative that Mayor Pearson had to present on it, and I know that you were not there, and that person indicated that he was not aware of you, but as our representative for city engineering, we wanted to make sure you were connected so you would be able to give us a report on that.
Okay.
So, yeah, so if you can connect with the mayor about that, and then give us any updates and any information you find out about that land to, you know, what the issue is to what is kind of steering people away from wanting to develop on that, then I think that would be good.
Is there a packet out on that development land? What was released for it?
I'm sorry?
You said, was there a packet?
Yeah, what was there something, what's going to get people to come there? What, did we send out something saying X amount of acreage or anything like that, or what?
I don't know. Mayor Pearson may be able to share. He was speaking to the board about him speaking with a developer.
Okay.
And so, I'm not sure with that, but I'm like, if it's been like that for years, I'm just curious to what is the issue with that. Do you have any updates on the construction that's taking place in Ward 4 at all? Where they've been digging up people's corners and not even telling them. So like I have a resident where they digged up the corner of her lawn and they did not alert her in advance. And so, you know, do you know the status of that project, and will there be any follow-up to make sure that they've done all of those processes correct?
I will follow up on that. They are supposed to let the resident know in advance that they will be there. In this climate with COVID, I don't know if there's been some procedures not followed, but I will look into that and see when they can get this all finished.
Because would they normally resurface someone's entire grass when they dig up in a large enough corner like that?
They should, yes.
Okay,
That's
all
part
right.
of the right of way.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. I'll look forward to the update. No further questions.
This is Alderwoman West. I would just like to say I need to speak with you on a personal level about something, some ideas I have about the rec center.
Okay.
All right, so I will be getting in touch with you. I've already spoken to Michael Weesey and Mr. Barrett, who have been working on it.
Okay.
Is that it? All right, approval of invoices over 500.
Mayor, I would like to make a motion to approve over 500s for a total of $15,132.85.
Is there a second?
Christian, second.
Are there any further discussion?
I did have one inquiry. Mayor, do Fran manage the petty cash? I just had a question about the petty cash.
Yes, I do.
So the $200 that went to John from the Youth Commission, do you know what that was for? Because it was just transacted on the 29th of June.
Right. That Youth Commission called and said that they needed $200 of their budget and to purchase whatever they're going to be doing. They're going to bring receipts for it. And I asked Lori, how did they normally do that? And she said Denny would give them the $200. They sign a form and they bring back receipts and everything to total how much they used. And if they don't use the whole 200, then they bring that money back.
One last inquiry. So there is a line for signatures. Who should be signing beside those line items on that petty cash document? They're all blank.
Well, I have the receipt and I turned the receipts in to Lori. And on the receipts, like when whatever department used the money, they would bring the receipt back and sign their receipt. So the receipts are with Lori.
Okay, I was just talking about the petty cash form that we had attached, and it
Right,
had line
that's
items
just
for
the
signature.
form that I put together just so that I could keep up with the money as I go along.
Okay.
And then I hold on to the receipts until, this is the first time that I had to, the year that I've been there, I've never ran out and I still have not run out, but it's getting very low. So
Okay.
that was just the form that I have. And so each time someone would come to get something, I would, itemize it out on that form. So that's why I signed it I believe I signed it at the top. But all of the receipts to total everything that was used is
Okay.
the story.
Okay, all right, thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
Anything else? The approval of the invoices over 500. Were you making a motion, Alderwoman Elliott?
Yeah, we were just on the question, so we're at the either the roll call or the yays and nays. And I would like to recommend for roll call only because we have some older people on Zoom and some of us are on the Zoom app where you can see the person and others is on the call. So to ensure that that person is the actual person, I would think that roll call would be best. As a recommendation.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Okay. Alderwoman West.
What was the motion?
To approve the over 500s at $15,132.85.
Yes.
Alderwoman Chapman.
Yes.
Alderwoman Reed.
Yes.
Alderman Carroll.
Yes.
Alderman Christian.
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales.
Yes.
Alderwoman Avante Elliott.
Yes.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Chief. Chief, you're up.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Sharon Gates, if you are still online, I did look up the ordinance concerning tractor trailer trucks and what streets they are prohibited to travel on. The one is Bell Fountain Road between Jennings Station Road and Interstate 270. The only exception to travel on that road is when they're delivering materials, merchandise, or service to property having frontage on that road. So unfortunate to say, there is no prohibition of tractor trailer trucks traveling on Chain of Rocks and James Station Road down in your area. Now, I know that when we had the flood, we put detour signs down there to direct those tractor trailers 367. I know it's inconvenient, and I know it's a nuisance of sorts. As of right now, I can't enforce anything else but what is ordinance. I know I've been through the area down where city has Riverview blocked off, and their signage is very poor. They don't provide any detours. So it goes where traffic goes. And right now, trucks and other vehicles are coming up Chain of Rocks and traveling in other directions from there. So I'm still gonna, Jeff Ross, are you still on the line?
Yes.
Your crew set up one, if not two, electronic portable signs down there on the corner of Jennings Station and Bellefonte Road, like you did with the flood, and mark it with detour for tractor trailers to go to 367 and not on road. I've seen very little tractor trailer traffic on Bellefonte Road, but I want to prevent that at least.
We can do that on Monday.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chief, for the update.
You're very welcome. Next, I want to go into Alderman Carroll brought up and asked about the city's disparity index last meeting, and I didn't have any information in front of me to kind of go through. I've prepared a few things tonight to kind of explain it, what our numbers are, the limitations, and what we do as a department to mitigate problems when it comes to traffic stops. So the disparity index represents racial ethnic groups' proportion of total traffic stops to its proportion of the driving age, which is the 16 plus population. It's based all on the value of one. One meaning that a certain ethnic group is not over or underrepresented. So that's the median. If it is a number less than one, like let's say 0.8, that means that ethnic group is underrepresented. And if it is, let's say 1.2, indicates that ethnic group is overrepresented. Now, there are a lot of limitations to this model. It's been around since 2000, so the last 20 years. The most recent numbers come from 2019. And so I want to discuss some of the flaws that have a serious impact on these numbers. The first thing, which is most important, that if what is normally represented as one is the norm, there is no acceptable standard deviation aside from the number one. So if it's less than one or more than one, people assume that there's a problem where there may or may not be. Number two, these numbers are based on the 2010 census population, which may or may have not changed over the past 9 years based on this information. These numbers are also based on the population of our community, Bellefonte neighbors. These numbers don't account for transient motorists. So it only accounts for the static population based on the census. So it doesn't account for people traveling through from our neighboring cities like City of St. Louis, Riverview, Glasgow, Jennings, and all around us further out. It does not also account for the number of eligible drivers that are within each ethnic group, meaning that you may have a certain number of an ethnic group, but we don't know the number of actual eligible drivers in that group. That brings it to actual drivers. It doesn't represent actual drivers in the number. So when we're talking about number, we're talking about the ethnic makeup of our city only, static population, with no other indicators beyond that. So what does affect some of these numbers is policing strategies and policies. So, for example, if we targeted a drug house and put it under surveillance and identified the people involved in the activity at that address and identified their names and ethnic makeup and gender and so on and so forth, that may have an impact on these numbers. The second is, another example is criminal profiling. So let's say the police get a call for a robbery, and we are given information such as ethnicity, gender, clothing, a vehicle description, make, model, color car, license plate. That's going to affect this number too. Now we do some prevention to make sure that traffic stops for the disparity index are conducted in a fair manner and represent a reasonable median of the traffic stops made by the department as a whole. So these are a collective of things that suggest that inappropriate activity may be occurring. So one of the things that we do is when we talk about implicit bias amongst human beings, especially if we're talking police officers now, we do send the officers to revolving training every year to address implicit bias, what it is, how to correct it, and how to manage it. We also look at explicit bias, meaning that it's an overt bias that's purposefully implemented. So supervisors of officers who make traffic stops are looking for types of violations that officers issue. The ethnicity and gender stopped, the complaints and the number thereof, and disciplinary issues with police officers. And those are just some of the indicators that may point that we may have a problem with how a particular officer conducts a traffic stop. So, for example, if a supervisor runs a period report for a particular police officer or the officer under that person's command and finds out that a specific officer for the past 3 months is only stopping Hispanic women, and most of the violations are infractions such as license plate light out. Those are serious red flags that we look into to mitigate those circumstances, and we investigate it. And we also take a look at our surrounding communities' disparity indexes, and we just see how we kind of align ourselves with them. So for 2019, and I'm not dismissing any other ethnic reporting on these sheets. And mind you, you can find all this information at the Attorney General's website under the traffic reports section. So they report white, black, Hispanic, Asian, American Indian, and other. So I'm just going to, just for sake of time and the principle of what I'm trying to demonstrate, I'm just going to focus on the first two columns, which is white and black. Our numbers this year were 0.22 and 1.35. So there's no standard given by the state to say off the bat, looking at these numbers, you know, is this a problem giving the deviation from one? They don't give us any information to give us that. I looked at the last 5-year average between the 0.22 and the 1.35. Average for the last year is 0.38 and 1.29. Little bit of a difference. I also looked at Florissant, Hazelwood, Ferguson, Riverview, and Moline Acres. Ferguson and Riverview were similar in nature to ours. Hazelwood had higher numbers, white was 0.47, black was 2.34, fluorescent was 0.23, for white, and black was 3.23. And they use the same methods and measures to ensure that their officers are conducting fair and responsible traffic stops based on probable cause and reasonability. So, does anybody have any questions about that? Okay.
I do. I do.
Yes, Alderman Carroll.
Mayor, may I? Mayor,
Yes, please.
may I proceed?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. So in regards to like, so there's no set standard deviation to this number, is there? I guess that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, so for example, to hit the number 1, if the
Right.
goal is 1 to be the norm, to be not over or underrepresented,
Right.
That would be ideally the goal. Is it achievable under reasonable circumstances? I would believe not, since we base our traffic stops on reasonable suspicion and probable cause.
Mm-hmm.
We don't leverage that to make a number 1 over the course of a year.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then regarding, you said with implicit bias, officers have to go through training each year, is that what you said?
Correct. So we do interpersonal training, one of which is focused on implicit bias.
Mm-hmm. How many hours a year are our officers receiving that type of training?
It is a little bit less this year because of COVID-19. Training is not as available as it has been because not everything's been online. If I were to guess, the average officer receives probably anywhere between 100 to 150 hours of training every year. And that's across everything. That's technical skills, interpersonal skills, legal matters, and then you get into, I mean, we're talking post standards here, you know, firearms, racial profiling is mandatory every year.
How many hours of that? How many hours of that training?
Well, we have a minimum set established by the state.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 24 hours per year. And it's
of racial profiling training.
No, one hour is the state standard.
Uh-huh.
What we follow, but that is the state standard, and we meet at least that requirement.
Okay. And then regarding the implicit bias, going back to that, like you kind of, I didn't hear how many hours a year of training. I know it's COVID-19 and everything, but on average, how many hours of training do our officers receive regarding implicit bias?
So implicit bias falls under personal skills, and of course may not be named implicit bias.
Sure.
If I had to guess the number of hours, it would have to be somewhere between 10 and 20 interpersonal hours.
Okay.
Implicit bias is ingrained in a lot of that training.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? If not, we will move to the city attorney report.
Good evening, Mayor and everyone.
Good evening.
I do not have a report tonight. I will, however, defer to Alderman Carroll to discuss the project we will soon commence to review the city's code sections relating to signs. That concludes it, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we'll move to unfinished business. No unfinished business. Then we'll move to new business.
Yes, Mayor. I would like to make a motion that
we enter into a partnership with the St. Louis County Department of Health to continue COVID-19 testing on our parking lot Wednesdays and Fridays from 8 a.m. to 12 o'clock noon. I have Mr. Kenneth Griffin, the Chief Operating Officer, on the line if anyone has any questions after the motions.
This is Alderwoman Dales, and I will second that motion, Mayor.
All right, are there any further discussions?
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I understand. So this is a different organization than Home Docs and Affinia?
Yes, it is. This would be the St. Louis County Health Department that we would be teaming up directly. That came about with because we were the only ones in the region offering consistent testing on a consistent basis. And Mr. Griffin and I discussed about the possibility because the health department started doing the same 2 weeks ago. If he's on the line, he'll verify. And he talked about us continuing because our demographics had found out that we had a great impact for the number of tests we've done, as well as making it convenient not only to our residents, but to those who came to get tested from public transportation and walking. So we became a popular area. So that's why they reached out to see if it was some way we could continue on some type of menial basis, if any at all.
What
And
was
Mr.
the,
Griffin,
what was the total test?
770 tests. We gave out 212 PPEs above those who got tested. So everybody that got tested received mask, hand sanitizer, and gloves until we ran out of the hand sanitizers and gloves. So we had a total of 315 hand sanitizers. We had a total of 350 gloves, but we had plenty of masks. So we, out of that 770, we had 23 who tested positive, who Mr. Griffin can speak to that because the testing labs only call those who are negative. Anybody who is positive, the St. Louis County takes over those cases directly.
I'm sorry, how many were positive? I didn't hear you.
23.
Okay, thank you.
Out of 770 that we tested.
Thank you.
And
You're
so, is there a cost? I know that the last company had a cost association that was covered through donations. Is there any cost association with that?
And Griffin, and I can speak to that if you would like.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So there is no cost associated with this. The St. Louis County Department of Public Health is willing to do this at no cost to the residents of Bellefontaine at all. We would come on to the area on Wednesday and Friday, as Councilwoman mentioned, from 8 to 12, giving free, no out-of-pocket cost tests to the citizens of Bellefontaine. Just to give you a little reference of the 63137 area code, you guys currently have 214 positive cases. That was done not only by the relationship you have with Affinia, but in all of Bellefontaine, 214 cases. And the surrounding areas, the 63136 is 537, the 63033 is 550, and the 63138 is 246. So here at St. Louis County Department of Public Health, we call your area a hotbed for COVID-19. As the mayor mentioned, his wife is succumbing to COVID-19, and we understand here at St. Louis County how important it is to get adequate testing done. I actually looked at some of the chats earlier and saw that some people were getting tested and not receiving results in an adequate fashion. With St. Louis County, we rely on several vendors in which we can get results back within 72 hours. And when we get those results back, whether you're negative or positive, you're hearing from us. So we are willing to go into this partnership with Bellefontaine neighbors and doing it on the parking lot of the City Hall, again, at no cost to you, Bellefontaine, at all.
Okay, I don't have any other further questions.
Mayor, I have a question, may I?
Yes, please.
So when you say no cost, that absolutely no cost for nurse practitioners, doctors, technicians, whatever you want to call them, to administer the test.
That is correct. No cost at all. That cost will be taken by St. Louis County Department of Public Health, and we will pay that cost. We will use our partners. So Affinia, I know you guys have been partnering with Affinia before, but now you'll be partnering with us. So where we will eat the cost. This will be our partners coming out, performing the test from 8 to 12 on Wednesday and Fridays. We will supply the test itself. We will supply the results, and we will contact the citizens of Bellefontaine neighbors. Again, yes, no cost at all.
I do have a question, because I know that it's kind of misleading when we advertise free and a person has to pull out their insurance card. So will the insurance card still be required?
No, ma'am. No,
for the process?
At all.
And
Thank you
if I
so
can
much.
clarify that, that's a good question. Thank you. I would like to clarify that, Alderwoman Anton Elliott, our testing was free, and free meant that your insurance pays for the test and the copay. Those who didn't have insurance was paid by the CARES Act. So we didn't have any cost to the citizens as well. And the question about the donations, what we did was grassroots. The two entities we used to get the nurse practitioners and the CNs from was a grassroots organization that didn't have access to the millions of dollars that Affinia or the health department has. So that's why we gathered donations to offer this test, because we realized, because we were in a hotbed, that we felt it was a responsibility to do our part in setting up a testing center, number one, that was easily accessible, number two, that would be on a consistent basis where people could come in the morning, afternoon, or late afternoon, because we never stopped at 1 o'clock. So that's the difference between the two. You have a grassroots effort where we raise money from corporations and friends to do, opposed to larger, entities, healthcare entities that have the millions of dollars and broader access to partners that can do that.
One last question for Mr. Griffin. Do you all already have a MOA drafted or anything? Because it would be my interest to see that before the partnership, because of the vagueness of other partnerships before.
So no, we do not. So what we would treat this as this pop-up shop for St. Louis County. When the councilwoman contacted me concerning it, she mentioned the efforts that was made with Affinia and the raising of the money. So what she did was say, how can we get this out in our area? I said, fine, we'll take it over. We'll do it. We will bring our people. We will bring our tests. We will bring everything. The only thing you guys have to supply is the space and the approval to do it. There's nothing that Bellefontaine needs to do for us.
And we do. Also, I want to interject for home docs and health and wellness centers. I want to thank the chief for working with Murmur to make sure that we had proper documentation. So not only do we have a MOA, we also have hold harmless documentation that was initiated as well. So if anyone wants to see that paperwork, I believe our city clerk still has that in her possession.
I had a question for Mr. Griffith. This is Alderwoman Reed. So there was volunteers with some of the ones that we already had here at our rec center. I know you mentioned City Hall parking lot, which is a little different. But however, one of the people contracted COVID, and these volunteers were utilizing our rec center or whatnot too. So are you going to be needing volunteers? Will you be accessing our buildings? I mean, I'm wondering,
No, everything that we do will be on the parking lot. We will need no assistance from Bellefontaine at all. We won't need volunteers. So what we have 4 EMS partners that we have under contract with St. Louis County Department of Public Health. That's Abbott EMS, Christian EMS, West County EMS, and Melville Fire District. They're under contract with us, and what we do is we utilize them as our partners to go out to different neighborhoods. So we're not only doing this in Bellefontaine, but we're doing this in Jennings as well, and also in the Lee May area. So there's nothing, again, that will be needed as far as people, as far as processes is concerned. If you have a table and a tent and a couple of chairs, we're good.
I also want to clarify the information or the statement that was just made. We had volunteers who were citizens who helped to hand out the PPE. The person who tested positive for COVID was a person who regularly used our rec center and volunteered one day. It's no way of knowing. I've learned a lot about this working with directly with the CDC and Mr. Griffin, that it's impossible, and you can chime in to verify that. It's impossible to pinpoint when, where, how, and who a person contract COVID. So just because we have citizens on the line, wanted to clarify that person who tested positive for COVID volunteered with us one day. He was a regular person who regularly used our rec center. And what I'm saying is we have no way of knowing. It's impossible to know how he contracted COVID. And Mr. Griffin, if you can clarify that and talk further on that issue, please.
That's correct, Alderwoman. So since COVID is a respiratory droplet that is spread with the mouth, it's impossible to pinpoint exactly how a person gets it. We all know the rules of social distancing of 6 feet, and this person could have been anywhere. We're noticing that even with masks, it doesn't completely say that you won't catch COVID, but it'll stop the spread of COVID a little further than without a mask is concerned. Unfortunately, that's the part of what we do. Once we find someone that does have COVID, we investigate. We try to find out where this person has been, who they've been with, where they went, and how many people they've been around. That's the part of investigating that we do in order to pinpoint not where they got it from, but who could have they spread it to. So you're absolutely right. There's no way to know who can give someone COVID. And in this instance, if a volunteer caught it, 9 times out of 10, I would hope that if volunteers are out in the parking lot with you guys, they're using proper masks, hand sanitizer, and social distancing from the people that are getting tested for COVID. That's exactly what we would do. My staff that comes along with me, we have everything that is needed in order to protect us from it. So from face shields, bouffants, masks, gowns, gloves, and shoe covers. We wear it all in order to protect the staff that is performing the COVID testing. And if there were to be some that would want to volunteer, we would supply those to them as well. Because again, our job is to mitigate the spread of COVID. So that is what we would do. And we would also bring masks. So I hear you gave out PPE. We would also make sure we have PPE to give those that are in need. We started giving out PPE at the St. Louis County Department of Public Health today, and we will continue that once we started this venture in with Bellefontaine on Wednesday and Fridays to make sure that there was enough masks to go around to the constituents in Bellefontaine as well.
And to clarify, tested positive, that one volunteer that volunteered one time that tested positive, no other persons that volunteered on a regular basis or volunteers or myself all tested negative.
So, Mr. Griffin, you said Wednesday and Fridays. What times did you, because we got no information about this until you're talking now. What times did you say?
Sure. So it was from 8 to 12, and Alderwoman and I have been discussing this for the last several weeks, and she wanted me to talk to the board before this actually started. I know the partnership with Affinia ended the end of last month, beginning of this month. So before—
No, we actually only had Affinia one day.
Yeah, it was Home Docs and Health and Wellness Center.
Okay. So I know the partnership has ended. So when she gives me the green light, or the board gives us the green light, we will set up shop, and we are looking at Wednesday and Fridays from 8 to 12.
And how long were you looking, or you hadn't established that as well?
We have not established that. So
okay.
What we're doing with the St. Louis County Department of Public Health, we know that this is going to be around for quite some time. The CARES Act funding, which we received from the state of Missouri and the federal government, we have a 2020. So hopefully We won't have to utilize it that long or perform testing that long, but if we do have the capabilities to do so.
So is it possible that, well, I would like to do this, and it's nothing personal to you, but I would like to amend the motion for MOA to be provided to the board with specific dates and start and end dates, and to be on the agenda for the next board meeting.
I second that. Alderwoman Reed.
Are there any
I
further
have a
discussion?
question. I have a question for Mr. Griffin.
Sure.
Okay. Mr. Griffin, one of our residents made a question, and the question is, does everyone tested need a driver's license or some other kind of ID? There has been a problem with Hispanic folks not being tested because they were concerned about immigration problems. And that's a question coming from one of our residents on our chat room.
That is an amazing question. And County Executive Sam Page actually did a press conference earlier today mentioning that we do not require IDs to be shown. If you have someone who lives in Bell Fountain who can prove—
This is Alderwoman West. When I tested up at the rec center, I had to provide a copy of my driver's license as well as my insurance card. That was about 3 weeks ago. I have yet to receive the results of my.
I'm pretty sure that wasn't with us, Alderwoman, but with the St. Louis County Department of Public Health, we do not require it. What was happening before us, I'm not sure of and I can't speak to, but with the St. Louis County Department of Public Health, we do not require your insurance card. We do not require a license. If you were to tell us your address and you have a piece of mail that shows that that is your address, we're okay with that. We just want to make sure we're taking care of St. Louis County residents, whether you're an immigrant, whether you are a citizen of the country or anything like that. We just want to make sure we're taking care of St. Louis County residents. And if you have not received your results, I do urge you to go to stlcorona.com and sign up for an appointment with us. We have 3 testing site locations currently, even one in Berkeley that we're currently doing Monday through Friday. That's in a drive-through setting, and we can get you your results within 72 hours.
Mayor, this is Wanda Lane. As a citizen, can I ask a question, please? What is the MOA? What is that? Hello?
Hello, would someone share that?
Alderwoman Chapman, can you explain what an MOA is, please? And I thought I heard you say that the city you had something on file with the city clerk. Is this something different?
It's a memorandum of agreement.
What does that mean, sir, please?
Generally, it's almost the same as a memorandum of understanding. It is a loose contract of sorts. I mean, that's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah, this is Dorothy White Coleman. Essentially what it does is memorializes the terms of a relationship between 2 or more parties. It's, as the chief said, an informal contract of sorts.
Thank you, Attorney.
And speaking from the public health, I don't know if an MOA would be needed because we're all a part of St. Louis County. The alderwoman and the mayor and everyone else essentially reports up to the county executive. So having to process an MOA going through the legal process probably would stall this. And we are ready to go on this, but if that is what is needed, then what we'll do is talk to the county counselors with the St. Louis County Department of Public Health and also with the county executive's office to try to see if that is something that they would want to do. However, I do feel that if we don't just say, okay, yes to it, it'll stall the process of testing.
Well,
But again, this is no.
I don't think you want to do that.
I apologize, Mr. Griffin. I did ask and email at least twice for additional information prior to this meeting, and I didn't receive it. And so having the details actually documented is just a preference because of process concerns that we've had before.
So the city of Bell Fountain, the only thing that Bell Fountain would provide for us is a space. We would not use Bell Fountain's staff. We would not use Bell Fountain's resources, no money, no anything. The only thing that you guys will say yes to is a space in which my team can come in and do the testing. So if you want an MOA just for space, then okay, I can try to get that for you.
And Alderwoman Elliott, would you send those questions to me, because I never received any formal type of questions or any inquiries from anyone. So I didn't receive them. If you would resend those out to me, please.
Well, I mean, it's not relevant at this time because it was asking what the agenda item is being told to us now, but it was asked twice with all the entire board members on it. So he's saying it now, but we didn't get the information in advance to process it and know what was going on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If my name was on it, that's one email. I got all the rest that I didn't get. That's all I was stating.
Mayor.
Yes, please.
May I speak?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Attorney White Coleman, can you speak to the MOA and what, I'm sorry, what was your name again, Mr.
Griffin?
Mr. Griffin, about the MOA and what he stated earlier about that being St. Louis County and Bell Fountain neighbors and all that?
Yes, I'm so glad you asked me that. I was about to chime in. You have already designated the St. Louis County Health Department to act on your behalf in your code of ordinances. That was done many years ago. So I agree with Mr. Griffin. If you want an MOA simply to set forth the space that's going to be used and the times, and if the county is willing to do that, that would certainly be acceptable. But you've already designated the St. Louis County Health Department to act on your behalf.
Okay, and what would the purpose of that be, that type of MOA, if any?
I'm sorry, Alderman Carroll, I didn't hear your question.
I said with what you just said, that MOA, just setting out the space and the time, what would that do for us, if anything?
Well, I mean, if that's what you want, then what I'm saying is,
what I'm saying,
it's not, I don't think it's necessary, if that's your question.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other question on the motion?
I'm sorry, Mayor. Attorney, you said that it's already in our code. Can you provide me where that is?
Yes, if you give me a minute, I don't want to hold you up, but I will get that information for you. Please.
Okay, and then if they can act on our behalf and it's already the law in our city, can I ask why then is one alderwoman heading it up? Wouldn't it have been the Department of Health to come in and engage with our mayor and do what they wanted to do then? If, why would this exchange have needed to happen with Alderwoman Tapman and not just happened with the city? As part of the day-to-day operations, which then would be the mayor that would engage this. So I'm just kind of confused a little. If you're saying it's already law.
Mayor, may I respond?
Yes, you may.
The reason why Alderwoman Reed, when we were coming to the end of our testing, what we wanted to do was continue to add this valuable service to our citizens. So I reached out because I have been in communications with the county health department who gave us the mask, and also the introduction to Mr. Griffin was through a person I had been previously working with to set this up. And so when we knew that we were coming to the end, before we didn't want too much of a lag in between the time, I reached out to Mr. Griffin to see at that time if St. Louis County could take on this endeavor. And so that's when the talk started. Why didn't it start before the others? The way that started was, and I won't prolong the time, when I was asked to help set up testing centers in the African American community. I reached out to Athenia first. The first month, the talks broke because they didn't have the money to do the testing. So when Dr. Holmes received a grant to do testing, she reached back out to me and said, we can do testing, but we can only do one here, one there, just sporadically. She couldn't set up because of state guidelines, and that's red tape, you know, that's something I'm not going to get into, that they couldn't offer consistent testing. What we were being asked to do, me specifically, was help set up somehow that we could have consistent testing because the numbers were spiking and we didn't have consistent testing. So that's when I reached out to corporations and friends I knew to help us find somebody who could do that. So we found home docs and health and wellness centers who could do that testing. But again, they are a small grassroots conglomerate that didn't have any access to the CARES Act money. They couldn't get any of that. So that's why those persons who gave to us, August Bush III Foundation, McCarthy, Emerson, Health and Homes, they gave that money to pay the staff, not only for our location, but we had it set up in three churches that are located in the 631, 36, and 37 area. And again, I didn't want the testing to stop because of the constant flow. And when I reached out to the county, that's when Mr. Griffin shared with me that they had started consistent testing 2 weeks prior. And because we had made a footprint in our area, if we could partner to continue testing in our spot, because our spot was being, if you want to, the epicenter because of the amount of traffic and the accessibility to our area.
Anyone else have any comments or questions? Seeing none, then the motion has been made and seconded. Is that roll call vote? I mean, call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Alderwoman West. Alderwoman Tapman.
Yes.
Alderwoman Reed.
So we are voting on the amendment that, just for make sure I'm right.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, yes.
Alderman Carroll.
No.
Alderman Christian.
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales.
Just to clarify, we're voting on to have a MOA for St. Louis County that we're already approved for. Is that correct? Is that yes or no?
This is to approve the actual testing that we
No.
will enter into partnership.
No, I made a motion that was second to amend the motion to have a MOU with dates provided by the next board meeting. And then we will be voting on the actual partnership at the next board meeting with the additional details. So that was my motion that was seconded.
Because that's not what I understood. So I rescind my vote to no.
Okay, so let me just clarify. So we have a motion on the board to hold it up for the community so we can get a start and ending date during the pandemic. Is that yes or no?
I would say yes. If Alderwoman.
Okay. Then I vote no because I think it's really important for our community to have this, and to hold it up is just unbelievable.
And I want to rescind my vote because I misunderstood, so I'm voting no as well.
Alderwoman West. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. This is Dorothy. I did not want to interrupt your voting, but you asked me for this information, and I think it may be helpful. If you look at Ordinance 1317 and Ordinance 1320, it specifically states that the Board of Aldermen in section 1 of ordinance number 554 approved a contract with the county whereby the county is to provide certain public health services for the city. Such agreement may be found in the office of the city clerk.
So then we don't need to vote on it at all then, correct?
That is correct.
Well, then I rescind my motion. And then the mayor can institute his authority as the emergency manager.
All right, thank you,
Wow.
Attorney. That's what I was asking, that it could be done in the office, you know, at City Hall. Thank you.
Can I get a second on my rescinded motion?
I believe that has to come from Alderwoman Reed.
Right, I rescind my second.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so let's proceed. Well, that took care of COVID-19 testing. Letter A. So now we're down to bill number 2587.
Motion, Mayor, I would like to make a motion to read bill number 2587 for second read and final approval with all of the amendments from before, in addition to the amendments that will be made to the budget message to align with the budget.
I'm sorry, I really can't hear you. It's a lot of
feedback.
But no, I hope that's
some people need to be muted though. We've been getting a lot of feedback from that.
But it's a lot of bang out here. But so you made a motion, please do that again. I'm so sorry.
Okay, I'm just making a motion for the second read of bill number 2587. Ordinance adopting the 2020-21 fiscal year budget with all of the amendments that were made, in addition to the amendment that will be made to the budget message to align with the final budget revisions.
Is there a second?
Alderwoman Reed seconds.
Are there any further discussions?
Yes, sir, Mayor.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Diana, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, when I went to amend the agenda, I rescinded my motion because I was assured that we would get an opportunity to discuss before we adopt the budget. So are we still going to discuss the budget before we adopt it? I rescinded my motion because it was stated, Alderwoman Evan Elliott, that we would get an opportunity to discuss it before we adopted it.
Alderwoman Tatman, pursuant to Robert's rules, once that motion is second, there should be discussion thereafter.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Well, may I?
Yes.
I would like for us to go through the amended budget again. I really like the process, and thank you, Alderwoman Reed, when we went, and Evan Elliott, because that helped the citizens and also me going line by line so we can see what the amendments are, and maybe to make sure that everything is in proper order and the things that we talked about. So I would like to make a motion that we do the same process as go line by line or section by section before we make an adoption.
Any further discussion? I mean, I can tell you that pulling funds out of the sewer lateral fund is illegal. If you don't want to keep that in there, you can, but that's going to be an issue for you. Any other discussion?
Yeah, Mayor, may I?
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
City Attorney, could you speak to what Mayor just said? Would that be illegal for us
to remove funds from the sewer lateral fund and put it in for a city administrator?
Just for clarity, Alderman Carroll, we're not moving the funds.
Okay.
It's just that the expense will be, expense there, will be allocated there.
Allocated for what?
For what Alderman Carroll is talking about. I mean, we've always had salary expense in sewer lateral. It's not moving of the dollars. It's just having expense there related to managing the sewer lateral program.
But it can't be spent for salary. Is that your intent?
I think Alderman Carroll posed that question to the attorney to answer. I just wanted to make sure she understood we weren't moving the funds, that there was going to be expense against that fund. So I'll defer to you, attorney.
Attorney Coleman, did you hear her?
I think something happened.
I am sorry. I was on mute. I apologize. Thank you, Alderwoman Reed. With respect to Alderman Carroll's question, the funds in the sewer lateral program can only be used to pay the cost for repair of defective lateral sewer lines. Now, there can be an administrative fee taken from the funds, but that fee must be related solely to the cost of administering the program. And that is a determination that should be made based upon accounting standards. So the treasurer would be the person to determine what would be the appropriate amount to assess to the cost for administering the funds.
All right, there are other departments that has been designated for funds to be used for an administrator. I don't have those before me. Can someone name those? So the sewer lateral fund, and what else was that?
Mayor, this is Alderwoman Elise Dales. It said the street bond.
The street bond?
Can the attorney answer to that as well, please?
There was a
We can't hear you, Alderwoman West.
I said there was a motion on the floor at some point. What happened to that motion?
We're in discussion. That's what happened to it.
No. Was there a second to that motion?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Attorney Coleman, you can proceed with the answer, if you would.
With respect to bond funds, although I have not actually seen the bond documents, I did find 2 ordinances that relate to the Series 2017A and Series 2017 bonds issued by the city. And the bond fund related to these bonds are restricted to pay the debt service on the bonds. I'm not sure if that answers your questions, but if we're talking about monies in the bond fund related to these bonds, they are restricted to be used for these bonds.
Thank you, attorney. That was the question. That was the answer I was looking for. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mayor. This Alderwoman Reed again. just so the attorney understands that we have actually five funds, one being the sewer lateral, one being the street bond, which was the money received from the bond.
Please. I'm trying to find it. I can't because the screen is taken over with this, what someone have up on here. I can't find where that.
Nash, Nash, can you mute yourself? Nash, Rabin.
It's Joe.
Okay. I got Nash. I got it.
Okay, so, and then there is the bond fund to pay back the bonds. And there is a capital improvement fund, and then there's general fund. So the one you're speaking of right now, attorney, is the one where we pay back the bond, you know. So not the residual funds that we have from the street bond. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but there is 5 different funds.
I'm sorry, was that question addressed to me?
Well, it was just a comment because there's no salaries coming out of the debt service fund. That was what you were speaking about, was the debt service fund is only to pay back the bond.
What I'm saying is typically bond funds are restricted. I have not seen the actual documents related to these funds, but that is typically the case.
So for clarification, attorney, so just as we're indicating that the sewer lateral is restricted, but administrative costs can come out, that's the understanding that it is restricted, but those same type of administrative expenses can come out as long as it remains in its proper fund. Is that correct?
No, I'm not going to state that because I have not had the opportunity to review the actual documents related to those bonds. But
okay.
Those
okay.
funds are restricted.
Okay. I was just piggybacking off of Alderwoman Dale's inquiry and it being said that the question was answered. So, okay, thank you.
And again, with respect to the sewer lateral fund, the cost of administration has to be the actual cost related to the administration of the program. And that is typically determined based upon accounting principles that an accountant would apply.
All right, any other questions? Then just for clarity, will you, Alderwoman Elliott, would you state your motion again?
Oh, I'm just making a motion to approve bill number 2587, the ordinance adopting the 2020-21 fiscal year with all amendments and changes necessary to the budget message.
Right. I just wanted people to understand that because
West,
I'm sorry, with all of the amendments there too, some of those amendments are
so
restricted funds.
Okay, so Alderwoman.
Did you proceed, Alderwoman West?
I said I second.
Well, I think it already had a second. Was you the one who made the second?
I think Alderwoman Reed made the second. We're just on the roll call now. So that was what I think Alderman Carroll was mentioning, that you would come off of the dais to engage in communication. So we're at the point of voting at this time.
All right, then Madam Clerk, call the roll on this.
Okay. Alderwoman.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
Mayor, may I invoke personal privilege? I need full clarity.
No.
Go
Personal
right.
privilege.
Yes.
Oh, so there could be personal privilege, but no point of order. How wonderful.
You're not running this meeting, my dear. Go right ahead, please.
Because I'm needing for clarification before I cast my vote. So what the motion is to adopt the budget with amendments. And with those amendments, can we name them? Is that pulling out the restricted funds? What amendments? You said with all amendments. And what I would ask Alderwoman Elliott, if you would state those amendments, what the amendments are. You said with all corrections and amendments. Could you state what they are, please? Is that okay?
Previous board meetings, they're in the minute.
Okay. So for clarification again, are we saying, are those amendments to include, now that we have information from our legal counsel that we have 2 restricted areas that funds are being asked to be allocated out of? Are we adding then those 2 amendments to be made as well? Those funds to be pulled out since they are restricted?
Alderwoman.
Hello? I'm sorry, Alderwoman Evan Elliott.
I'm including all of the previous approved amendments.
And what I'm asking is that you said previous, so is that including the ones that were stated today as well? Those restricted funds, is that inclusive? I'm just asking because I want to make sure I'm making a knowledgeable vote and an informed vote.
So
It is including
everything that we have approved at the last 2 meetings that the board has approved is in that amendment.
And so what I'm asking specifically, are we saying those amendments now include the ones that we discussed today, which means are the street bond funds and the sewer lateral funds? Are those 2 inclusive in those amendments, please?
Alderwoman Tapman, were you at the meeting where those were approved?
Yes.
Were they approved? Were they approved? And I said,
asking is,
it includes everything that was previously approved.
And so what I'm asking, Alderwoman Evan Elliott, I want for clarity. So you're saying we're going ahead to approve a budget with those items being put out of those 2 restricted line item accounts. I need that clarification so I know how to vote. They were approved, but we found out today that they are illegal and we can't do it. So are we going ahead to vote on a budget that has 2 items that are restricted items, and we're going to go ahead and vote to approve them anyway? I just need clarification.
I'm sorry, Mayor Pearson, can we have a point of order to go ahead and finish the motion and move the agenda along? We have a lot of items on this agenda tonight.
Can we refer to the attorney, please?
I think she deserves clarification.
We've talked about, she's already answered her 4 times. She's stating the same exact thing over and over. Can we not have a point of order this time to move on to a roll call vote?
It's a yes or no answer. Are we including those 2 line items that we have now have knowledge of that are illegal? That's all I ask. That's a yes or no answer.
No answer. You always expound on whatever it is you want to say. Can we please move on?
Hello, I'm sorry. I'm a citizen. May I ask a question?
We only have public comment.
For public comment.
No,
Yes.
okay.
We were on the roll call vote, Mayor.
Answer the question. If not, just say.
I've got a question too, as a citizen. This is public funds. I think the citizens need some clarification
Miss
as well.
Lane,
I
Miss
said
Lane.
what I said. I said what I said. I'm a citizen. It's public
Mayor,
funds. It's
Mayor,
not
we
your
are actually
personal
out of
money
order
that
now.
you're
Can you
trying.
please
Yes,
call
I
a
am
point
out of order. Yes,
please?
I am out of order.
No, I said
And
the meeting is out of
Alderwoman
order.
Dales
You're
asked a
supposed to
very
keep
simple
decorum
yes
in the
or no
meeting.
question.
The
Alderwoman
attorney
Chapman
has not
asked.
indicated that that was legal, so we're moving on. She did not indicate that that was
Thank
illegal.
you.
Thank you. So let's move forward.
Mayor, if I could make one comment.
Sure.
In response to Alderwoman Tatman's question, it would not be prudent for this board to use funds from restricted accounts.
Also, now we have an opinion. Oh, really?
And that's the simple answer. If you want
Well,
to do it
then-
anyway, then that's
okay, so
Thank you.
if we have an auditor, and so any event, because we have not hired that person, any event that after further research and clarification, there is a concern, we have $36,000 at the bottom of this budget as a surplus. We have other monies that can be moved around. We do have the funds available. So any event that we learn that is truly some type of issue, we will be fiscally responsible to make those amendments at that time, because it can be done at any point to make sure that
The board
that
don't
we're
move
legal.
money around. The board can't move money around.
So is that the answer now?
all right. Seeing no further discussion, then Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Alderwoman Avant Elliott,
Yes.
Alderwoman Christian, I'm sorry, Alderman Christian,
Yes,
I'm sorry.
that's all right.
Okay, thank you. Alderwoman Dales,
No.
Alderwoman West,
Yes.
Alderman Carroll,
Yes.
Alderwoman Tatman, Alderwoman Reed,
Yes.
Alderwoman Tatman.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. I said no.
Okay, Mayor, we have 5 yes, 2 no's, and 1 absent.
Okay. All right, let's move forward.
I'm sorry, Fran, you're supposed to give
I
us.
know.
Thank you.
Okay, so, Mayor, I need to read the statement. The majority of the Board of Aldermen voted and passed Bill number 2587, which will become ordinance number 2580 when and if signed by the mayor.
Okay. Let's see. Alderman Carroll, did you get your amendments in? I'm kind of lost now. Did you get your amendments in?
I plan to do them right now, if that's all right with you, Mayor.
Say that again now. I didn't hear you.
I said I plan to do it right now, if that's all right with you, Mayor.
That's fine with me. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I'd like to bring to the board's attention and have a, I'd like to actually just make a motion that we adopt a social media ordinance for the city of Bellefontaine neighbors.
Christian will second that.
Would you, well, okay. Any further discussion?
Yes,
Go ahead.
Alderman Carroll, this would be to begin that process.
Yes.
And then, okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to work with the city attorney. I sent you all a copy of the fire district's social media policy, and to use that and kind of piggyback off of what they say and kind of get some clear lines between what we say as elected officials and what we say as private citizens.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
I had a question. Alderman Carl, would this include anyone that's engaged with the city, whether it be appointed, elected, or an employee?
I would think it would cover all.
Thank you.
That's what I would like.
Yes.
Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Alderman Carroll,
Yes.
Alderwoman Avant Elliott,
Yes.
Alderwoman Reed,
Yes.
Alderwoman Tatman,
Yes.
Alderman Christian,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales,
Yes.
and Alderwoman West.
Yes.
Okay, everybody said yes, Mayor.
All right.
And then my second one is regarding signs. I would like to make a motion that we have planning and zoning, since our sign ordinances are a part of our zoning ordinances, that I would like to make a motion that our planning and zoning commission look at the signs, section 29-91 in residential districts, and bring that into compliance with Supreme Court ruling and appeal court rulings.
Alderman Christian will second.
Are there any further discussion?
I had a question. Alderwoman Reed, Alderman Carl, would this, I can't remember the sections where we just passed the ordinance for signage at businesses. So you are specifically talking about residential areas.
Residential, right, section 29-91. It's more about regulating content or not regulating content. From my understanding, and Attorney White Coleman helped me out, I believe the city can regulate like the size of the signs and the number of signs on property, but when it comes to content, from my understanding, the Supreme Court ruled that we can't be doing that.
Okay, thank you.
That is correct. The regulation of the actual content is deemed to be unconstitutional, as
Right.
there are First Amendment implications.
Sure.
I agree.
Excuse me, Chief. Is Chief there?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Is it possible that you could send someone around here? It's like, I don't know what to call this out here. It's out here near Oran and Newbie. They're like firing up the place. Thank you.
Okay.
All righty, where are we on this motion? Are there any further discussion?
This is Dorothy. Alderman Carroll, I believe I mentioned in my email that we had gotten a request from the mayor and the chief to take a look at all signs, not necessarily the business signs, but political signs and other signage.
Okay. Then I rescind that motion, and I'd like to make a motion that we have the Planning and Zoning Commission look at ordinances pertaining to signage in the city of Bellefonte Neighbors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Christian.
Ordinances pertaining to signage in Bellefonte Neighbors?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
There's a second to the motion.
Christian will
I
second.
second.
All righty, any further discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Okay, Alderwoman West,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales, Alderman
Yes,
Christian?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
I got you. Alderman Christian?
Yes.
Alderwoman Tapman?
Yes.
Alderwoman Reed?
Yes.
Alderwoman Avant Elliott?
Yes.
Alderman Carroll?
Yes.
Okay, all yes, Mayor.
All righty.
And then, may I go on, Mayor?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. And then I would like to make a motion. Well, I'm going to give some background first regarding Judge Draper's email communication with us a week or so ago, about the court clerk being under our administrative ordinances, and with the changes in the Missouri Supreme Court rules and state statutes, that she stated that should be over the jurisdiction of the court. So then I would like to make a motion to have the city attorney review that ordinance regarding the court clerk and the municipal court to ensure conformity with the Missouri Supreme Court rules and state statutes.
Everybody understand that? Is there a second?
Yes, sir. Second.
Who's second?
Chapman.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? Then Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Alderwoman Tapman?
Yes.
Alderwoman Reed?
Yes.
Alderwoman West?
Yes.
Alderman Carroll?
Yes.
Alderman Christian?
Yes.
Alderwoman Dales? Did you say abstain?
Yes.
Okay. And Alderwoman Avant Elliott?
Yes.
Okay. 6 yes and 1 abstain, Mayor.
All right. Alderman, do you have anything else you'd like to?
I got two more, Mayor, if that's all right. My next one is regarding the code of ethics. I've went through, as I recall, when I was a resident attending meetings, the board approved a code of ethics every 2 years. The previous city attorney recommended that we approve our code of ethics